Mm-hmm. You got your phone in case you want to see anybody post stuff or... Turn off my ringer. Let me see. Where's my ringer? Ready? Mm-hmm. Let's go. And 3, 2, 1, and welcome to another episode of the Hood Grace Podcast. My name is Rudy Rubio. I am one of the pastors at the Reformed Church of Los Angeles in the city of Linwood, here in the city of Linwood, with my homie, co-pastor Chris Marquez this afternoon. Go ahead and say hello, Chris.
What's up, what's up?
Feel free to be more expressive than that. It's the holiday season. Show some cheer.
Merry Christmas. You filthy animals.
So today we have a special edition of the Hood Grace Podcast. And first I want to give it up to one of our sponsors, Richard Sperling at Keller Williams. He does real estate. He's a great guy, a fellow believer in the Lord and our faith. He attends a church we used to go to, so I want to plug him in. I also want to plug in the homie Jack Berry and their ministry and podcast, Brothers of Ash. If you're in the Washington area, make sure you check in with them as they go smoke some dope cigars and talk theology, or listen to their podcast, Brothers of Ash, on iTunes. But one of the things that Chris and I want to talk to about today, it's been on my heart, and I actually wrote about it last week. It was Saturday night. I was sitting down going over stuff for church, Chris, and I was just reflecting on our experience and our journey in planting this church, RCLA here in Linwood, and some of the things that are still to come next year. Right, we have a big announcement we're going to make in January, but just reflecting, thinking about that stuff, and the road hasn't been easy, man. It hasn't been easy, and I figured, hey, maybe we can just talk. And I wrote that blog and shared some of the stuff that was in my heart. But I've had a lot of people reach out and say, man, I was reading it, going like, amen, 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 amen. And I just kind of wanted to. Did you get a chance to read it?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was very, very true. You know, it's they're hard truths, and they're things that are. It's not easy to talk about, you know, but it's something that I think is helpful for other people to hear, to know that they're not the only ones.
Yeah, that they're not the only ones experiencing hardship, right?
Yeah.
Because some people think that like church planting can be really sexy, right? Like, be like, yeah, let's plant a church in the hood. Let's plant a multicultural church. Let's a multi-generational church. But it's not easy, man. It's not easy. And I want to start off with just reading. If you guys haven't heard of it yet, it's a really basic blog that I started about a year ago, because of our mutual friend that I love his dumb butt to death, Daniel Stidham, right? Who's now going to be the lead pastor of a revitalization of a church, Orland Park Church, or no, Oaklawn.
I don't know the name.
I think it's Oaklawn. It's a CRC, Christian Reformed Church, now about to become an RCA church in the suburbs of Chicago. But anyways, he had said, dude, document the stuff you guys are experiencing, man. Like, I want to be able to learn from you guys. So shout out to Daniel Stidham. I kind of started this blog because of him. Because people want to know some of the stuff we were going through. So the blog is called urbanchurchplanting.blog. Urbanchurchplanting.blog. Why? Because we're planting a church in an urban area. And when we say urban, what are we talking about urban, Chris?
When we say urban, we're talking about lower middle class. You know, we're talking about the urban poor. You know, we're talking about gang-infested areas, drug-infested areas. We're talking about hard places.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so we're talking about the hood.
Right.
We're talking about the hood. As the homie in Glasgow would say, the hood. Yeah, shout out to Christ Church in Glasgow, Scotland. But yeah, like God bless Tim Keller and Redeemer Church and all the brothers that are doing ministry in that type of urban, but that's just not our urban. Like upper middle class Manhattan is not Linwood, it's not Compton, it's not Watts, it's not Wilmington, it's not like some of these hard spots, right? Doing church in hard places. So I figured let me start this blog, and though we celebrate a lot of victories, let me just read a couple of the lines that I started out with, right? And I said, what I've learned in church planting this year, and I quoted Proverbs 19:20 that says, listen to advice and accept instruction, right? Because I'm hoping somebody will be able to learn from our victories as well as some of our losses. Like, hey, don't do that because that didn't work, you know?
Right.
But I wrote this, I started out saying, and just to kick off our conversation, it says, it's a Saturday night in December, and I've been reflecting on many things as we bring our first official year as a church plant to a close. Here are some of the things I've noticed and learned in no certain order or priority. Ready? I'm going to keep it 100. Here it goes. 1. Not everyone who says it's for you is really for you. 2. Not everyone who says they're going to support you does. 3. Not everyone who says will partner financially with you does. 4. Not everyone who says they have your back really do. 5. Out of sight, out of mind is a very real thing. 6. Church planting could be a lonely experience. 7. Church planting is a very scary experience. And the last one, it says that church planting makes you depend on God for everything. ... Really! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. I added the term core team should be replaced with the term launch team because a year later they won't look the same. Remember they told us that stuff? We were like, no, it's not our team. Not our team, you know. And then I mentioned certain trends that I noticed amongst other church planters or people in the church planter world. And this isn't to throw shade on anybody, right? Because we don't have it all. God knows we stuck our foot in our mouth and made mistakes. But when you hear these things, Chris, like what are some of the things that you think of or reminded of?
Yeah, the first one is the core team. Right? They told us that our core team would look 50% different by the end of year one.
Yeah.
And the first thing we said was not our core team.
Not our team. You haven't met our team, buddy.
And you know, not everybody who leaves for unbiblical reasons, right?
Yeah, not at all. Yeah.
And that's not so. It's not to it's not to criticize anybody or to throw anybody under the bus or anything like that to make anybody feel bad. But you know, this has been our experience, and we have the right to speak on our own experience, and that's what it's been. Yeah. It does look 50% different.
Yeah, it does.
Almost to like the number. You know what I mean? It's like literally half of the original people that were with us are no longer with us anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
And like you said, not for unbiblical reasons, because somebody did something wrong. Things just, people change in a year, right? Some people signed up for things and they're like, yeah, this isn't really what I signed up for. You know, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. But as I was, so, you know, you have your timeline. Stupid Facebook every morning reminds you of what some of the dumb stuff you posted a year before. And some of the stuff like are great memories, right? But as we're coming up on over a year already, unofficially, I see pictures we took. Like the other day, I saw a picture that when we got prayed out for Emmanuel, you know, on July 2nd, and I was like, whoa, that was almost a year and a half ago, you know, and I was like, they're not there, he's not there, she's not there, they're not there, and I was like, oh wow, like it seems like most of our people left for different reasons. Some went back, some left different places, yeah, things. Is that my phone?
Oh no, it's fine.
And I was like, whoa, things sincerely, like they really have changed, you know? Not everyone who says is for you is really for you. What does that make you think of? And feel free to share as much as you want or as little as one. You may say, hey, somebody I know and love is listening. I'd rather not because they're going to know I'm talking about them. Like, feel free to say that too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just as the statement says it, not everybody is for you. I mean, okay, so I'll say it this way: for anybody who is planting or thinking about planting, don't be surprised that people that you think were going to support you, be it monetarily, be it by joining your team, be it whatever,
encouraging you,
yeah, praying for you, yeah, even checking in on you, right?
Yeah, that's a big one,
right?
That's a big one. Yeah,
don't be surprised if they just act like you just out of sight, out of mind kind of a thing, right?
I said that right. Out of sight, out of mind is a real thing.
Right.
It is. I remember writing in the same blog maybe 6 months ago, where I said a lot of people think that because they follow us, right, and because we're really active on social media, because they follow us, that we know they're there. And I remember I had a conversation with somebody that I got a lot of love and respect for. I was like, dude, if you don't click like, if you don't comment on it, and if you don't want to do it publicly, that's fine. If you don't send me a text or call me to encourage me, I have no way of knowing that you're there watching everything I'm doing.
Right.
Because to me, it seems like everybody's watching what we're doing, but you're not commenting on it. But when I go to the Midwest, or I go to like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I see what you're doing. It's like, then why don't you encourage me, dude?
Yeah.
Like, why you don't say nothing to let me know that you're watching what we're doing, you're grateful, you're thanking God for us, you're praying for us. Like, whatever, like, flip me off. Let me know you're live, like, let me know you're there, in other words,
Right.
But yeah, man, some of the stuff can be hurtful when there's people that you thought would be the ones to have your back. And, like, I haven't heard from that fool in a year and a half since I left.
But then the flip side, too, is that people that you didn't think were going to support you and back you up,
oh, yeah,
all of a sudden they come out of nowhere and they're like your biggest supporter.
Bro, there are people that have come out the woodwork that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
My homie Kyle Blake, my white Lutheran brother in Long Beach, that dude told me a lot of stuff, bro. I think I shared with you. He was like, look, dude, this is going to happen. No, it's not, bro. I've been through it. This is going to happen. And I felt like telling, it is brujo, bro. Like use a witch. Everything he told me
happened to a T.
No, check it out. I'm not calling my brother Kyle Blake a witch. I'm not saying that. It's just a Mexican saying that he called it, bro. Like, the three things that he said would happen, I was like, no, that's not going to happen with me and my people. And it's like, sure enough, they happened. I was like, oh, man, that sucks. Chris Godfredson, what's up, man? Talk about people who are supporters, right?
Yeah. The main supporter.
One of the main supporters with prayer and partnership. The homie Chris Godfredson tuning in from Rock Valley, Iowa. That's the motherland, because I'm originally from Northwest Iowa, right?
I think your descendants are Bulgarian.
What's up, the homie Jack Barry from Tacoma, Washington, checking in with the Brothers of Ash. I gave you a shout out a few minutes ago, Jack. But again, if everybody's listening, he's one of our sponsors. Make sure you check out the Brothers of Ash. Go on iTunes and check him out.
Isn't that sin though? Smoking cigars?
Oh, Jack, look at what he's saying, bro. Somebody asked him if he smokes cigars. No, we're not going to get into that conversation, right?
Yeah, I got a pack right there in my backpack. Right,
yeah, because then I'm going to get thrown under the bus too. I'm like, tire out. Chris Godfredson, we were talking about you, but in a good way, Chris Godfredson has been if we believed in patron saints, bro, he would be like one of our patron saints. You know what I'm saying?
I told you I'm going to name my kid after him, right?
Chris says that he's going to name his first kid after you, all right, Chris? Not after him, but after you. Jack, it's all love, brother. It's all love. We don't play that. But yeah, some of the stuff, like you said, Chris, people come out that you would have never thought, you know what I'm saying, that have been there. I got people, bro. You remember a little bit over a year ago, I posted saying, hey, church planting is one of the hardest things. Like, you got to raise your own salary. And I had some negative flack for that too, because people were coming at me saying, you're making it seem like you don't have money. I'm like, no. We don't have enough money, bro. Like, we're starting, it's like a business from scratch, right? But the only difference is you're not selling nothing.
Right.
So you can't invest in something that you're going to sell and then
you're hoping people donate.
Yeah,
It's really what it is.
Yeah, to the ministry that God has called us to. We're starting something scratch from brand new. But I remember in that post, Chris, I had said something like, if you could help me raise my salary for next year, I would appreciate it. Like, I think I said something like, I'm trying to get 100 people to give $50 a month, and that will help more than help cover, what I'm trying to raise. And I think we had about 25 people that committed. And bro, a year later, I said, hey, thanks for having helped us out this year. Would you consider, another year, like, hey, sign me up, I'm in again, And some people are like, hey, put me in for a little bit more, because they see what we're doing. people they can't hear you nodding your head.
No,
He's saying yes.
I thought you were still talking.
No, so to hear people say that they believe in what we're doing, they still want to part, like that's dope, man.
Right. Yeah, I mean, again, it goes back to the thing where a lot of people think it's cool, they think it's sexy, the whole church plan, multicultural church, planting in the hood, planting in hard places. But they need to understand that those of us that actually go out and do it, we need help. Like this is not just done. It's not like you can just get in the pulpit and say, hey, people are just going to show up and hear us preach, or like we're going to show up in the community and say, hey, we're just going to start a program to help community development, and everything's just going to magically unfold right in front of you like a red carpet. You know what I mean?
And we've had those conversations with people that were like, just get in the pulpit and preach and everything's going to happen. It's like, no, man, it doesn't work that way.
Right. It's
hard work. You got to network and sit down and meet with people and have coffee and get to know people, that they would know that we have no agenda, that we are sincere, and that we just want to love on folks in the name of Christ, you know?
Yeah.
Man.
And even the challenge that we face, we're an odd bunch, because you're talking about an urban setting, and we just defined what we meant by urban, and you know we fit that mold because we come from these neighborhoods.
Yeah.
But now we're coming with a version of Christianity that is extremely Anglo historically. You know what I mean? Like nobody knows what Reformed is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we all of a sudden we're doing things, we're preaching in certain ways that are highly theological and highly doctrinal, but at the same time we're trying to relate it to the average person. Like it's hard what we do. You know what I mean? They're trying to introduce a new denomination into a culture that hasn't known it historically.
And a new theology that can, to some people, can seem Roman Catholic, and they push back on it and want to have nothing to do with it, right? And to some people, like, it actually seems familiar, so they're open to sitting down and sitting under us to hear what else we have to say, right?
Right.
Man, what else is on your heart? Something that you've learned, something that you feel like we just need to share that from this past year?
Yeah, I guess for me, I would just like for people to know how difficult it is, you know, because it really is hard. Like, I mean, just right now, we just spent 2 hours going over how to make a pro presenter. Mm-hmm. You know, these are little things that people don't, I mean, that makes up like maybe 2% of our week, and yet that took up 2 hours to sit there.
2 hours, yeah.
And that's just to go over it and learn it, and then you still got to make the stuff, and then, you know, these are things that churches that are established already have.
Yeah.
They already have these things, and so when you're starting a church from scratch, you're doing everything yourselves. You know, people don't get that. Like, you're not just showing up to a church as a pastor that's established and saying, hey, hi, how you guys doing? Thanks for doing this. Thanks for doing that. Let me get in my pulpit and preach a sermon and leave.
Yeah.
Like we're like from start to finish. It's just a crazy week, and they say that the second year is the hardest of church planting. So it's like,
hell no, bro. So heck no.
So it's like, whatever we've experienced already, they say the best is yet to come.
Wow, man, that's crazy to think that this next year is going to be even more difficult. Actually, I don't. You never know, but
yeah, but we've said I don't think so. But before.
So check this out. Check this out. Before we even launched, we had people. So 3 weeks into it, we had a part of our, what we called core team, bail, right? Mm-hmm. And we're talking about, this is like, we prepared, like we talked to people about what it was going to be like. We even had somebody share with us about grief and loss, right? Some friends from City Church Compton, like, what is it like? Because you're going to experience grief and loss. You're going to have to say bye to a bunch of friends that you've been living with and doing life with and ministry with for years, right? And then we had somebody 3 weeks into it say, yeah, this isn't for me, you know? And we couldn't go back to our previous church and say, hey, well, these people change their mind. Can we ask another family to come? Like, ni modo. Like, it happened, like, deal with it, you know? But we prepared as much as we could, but even before our official launch, like, I'm just going to say it, things are hard to where church discipline was applied, excommunication. You know, like these are things that happen like before our even official launch, right? Like the enemy was working overtime to try to trip us up.
Right.
You know, you think about maybe 50% of our original core no longer being here, but on the flip side, what has God done with our church, Chris?
other people have shown up, other families have shown up, and they've been, extremely, essential to everything that we've done so far and that we're doing right now. You think of the Arandas, you think of, Grace and her daughter, just a lot of different people. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but
Oralia, the Hiltons,
there's just so many.
The Hendricks family,
and just so many different ways that the Gonzalez's, just people who really just share in the vision and really have given sacrificially of their time and their money to really make this thing happen.
Yeah. And I mean, there's only a few of us families that are left, right? Like besides, you, the Rubios, you have the Fowles, the Centenos,
the Moraleses, the Prices,
and the Prices, six families, right? So yeah, that's not a lot, bro. From what we left with, that's like half of the adults are gone.
Yeah, easily half the adults.
But like you said, God provided and bringing other people that were, let's say, a better fit, right? We've had challenges in ministries, but every step of the way, God has shown up and like just taken things up a notch. It took us a year to be able to save up to be able to buy TV screens and computers and all that, to be able to, you know what I'm saying, to do that stuff. Right. And now that we got them, it's like, okay, now we got it. How do we use this stuff? Right.
Exactly.
We're not an established church like you said, where you got a paid staff that just does it. We got to do it ourselves.
Right.
You know? So I'm training my 13-year-old daughter, and we'll be training JoJo, 14-year-old daughter of ours, to be able to help us do this stuff.
Yeah.
To get them in the mix of things, But what are some of the biggest, or some of the big?
I mean, just starting with the spiritual blessings. Obviously, the reason why we do this is because we want to see, healthy disciples raised up. You know, and that's the main blessing that I think that we've seen there, with just so many people, seeing them go from, spiritual infancy. Certain people that we knew even from our previous church that were new to Christianity, that had decided to come with us, and just seeing them grow so much to the point that you almost forget that they've only been saved a year or two.
Right.
Some of them, and it's just totally different people, and just seeing them grow in depth. So that would be the biggest blessing that I would take away, and I think that's why people should support church plants, is because it's an opportunity for healthy disciples to be raised up, and but then materially speaking, I mean again, I don't care if anybody thinks it sounds carnal. It's the truth. Our financial partners, because it's just the thing that people don't realize is that the biggest thing that'll get in your way of doing the ministry is having to fundraise for the ministry.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, and the biggest, and if you don't have the money, you're gonna end up having to get a part-time job, and that's really gonna hinder the ministry.
Yeah, and it takes away from what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So it's like that's almost like the gas in your car. You know what I mean? Like, you can have everything, but if you don't have the gas to go, it's like, so you got to have that money to make sure that the people who are doing this work are taken care of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and it's the truth. And I think we had a conversation with a good friend of ours where he was under the impression that that we can kind of like ease into certain expenses and stuff. And I was like, no, bro, like this is when it's the most, like this is the initial, like this is where all the hard work comes into play to get things going, and then we can start tapering off. But right now is where everything's at. Like all the hard work is now, because everything we lay down now is going to be the foundation for what we build upon. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're so true. Like God has been generous with us in providing multiple people to partner with us. When I say partner, I don't mean just money. I mean encouragement. People that reach out and say, hey, I see what you guys are doing. You guys inspire me. You guys give me hope. You encourage me, or ask us questions of how we're doing something so that they can apply to their church, or how they're blessed by some of the things that we're doing in our ministries. Like that is so life-giving, man. Like when you're just having, like there's been days when I just wanted to bang my head against the wall because it's like, oh my God, this can't be happening, Right. And then you get a text from somebody that says, oh man, I just saw what you guys did at church. Like, man, I was so encouraged. Yeah. We Facebook Live our sermons, and I'll usually post like a little snippet of you or me, whoever preached, like a little piece of a song or something, because I want people to know what we're experiencing. Like I want Chris Godfredson in Northwest Iowa and Jack Berry in Tacoma, Washington to see how God is using us here, Yeah. Not to brag.
Especially if people are investing in your ministry, I think they have a right to see, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't want to just send them a monthly update. Like I do that. but I want them to be a part of and see what we're doing. Like, yo, we baptized almost 30 people this year, like 20 something, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, God, give God some praise for that, you know?
Right.
And he chose us to do that. Like, man, who are we, bro? You know? Some other things that come to your mind.
Just seeing God's hand at work in the whole thing, it's pretty amazing how, you know, one of the things that our church planting trainers told us was to have, you know, God goals, you know, or faith goals, I forget what they call them. But these are just some goals that you write down that you know that are impossible for you to accomplish on your own. There's got to be big dreams, right? You know, you got to step out of the humble zone and really, really ask on these, right? And so one of the things we asked,
Lord Jesus, make me skinny.
Yeah.
No, not that big.
He hasn't answered that one. No, but like, for example, they said, like, how many people do you want to see in your church in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years, right? And we said, all right, within a year, we'd like to see 100 people, right? And I swear, on September 10th, 2017, we had our first service.
Yeah.
On September 10th.
Where was it at?
In the park.
In the park, right?
And then September 10th, 2018 was our first day that we had literally 100 people.
Yeah.
Just seeing God answer that prayer, like, to the T, to the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know that's God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, just for that to happen so precisely, that's God saying, like, I'm right here.
Yeah.
You know?
And if we ever had any doubt, like, his hand has been upon everything that's been happening, like, every step of the way, right? So when we have those days, like, you do want to bash your head against the wall, like, why am I doing this?
Those days or every day?
Well, practically every day, right? You know, but then, like you said, the people that are growing spiritually, you know, like I think of Steve Price and how much that's my wife. She's calling me. Let me send her a text real quick and tell her I am recording. But yeah, like say for instance, Steve Price. How much have you seen that brother grow in the last year?
A lot, man. I've seen him grow in knowledge. I've seen him grow in character.
Maturity, like everything, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he was already mature, and that's why we elected him to be an elder candidate.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, obviously, you know, it's such a high calling, you know what I mean, that we have to really watch ourselves. And, you know, we would expect to see a lot of growth, especially from those individuals, more than anybody. And yeah, he's probably grown more than anybody too, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's exciting to be able to pour into people and to see growth, you know what I mean? Like I use the analogy of the flower. Like a flower put in the right environment can grow into something beautiful with the right light, with the right soil, with the right amount of water. And a human being is the same way. Put in the right environment, they have the potential to grow into something beautiful. You know, they have the potential to grow into Christ-likeness. The Bible tells us, right? And so that's really the environment we're trying to develop, you know.
And I think because of the uniqueness of a church plant, right, where you have nowhere to hide, so you're gonna get poured into whether you want to or not. Like you can't hide and you can't come and sit in the back row and think you're gonna stay in the cut and nobody's gonna see you. You know, like people that don't come to church on Sunday, like I send them a text, not to like, how come you weren't in church today, fool? You know, but like, hey, you know, we missed you today. Is everything okay? How can I pray for you? You know, but yeah, we want people to know that they care. So with the uniqueness of a church that small, like you're gonna get loved on, and you have more of it's like more of a right of the right like chemistry or perfect storm, like you were saying right now, to be able to do that, right? That flower is in the perfect environment for growth.
Right.
And to see somebody just spurt growth like that is dope, you know.
Right.
And things like that are encouraging. When I think of, like, again, the Price family, how Liz is very detail oriented. Every time we're going to do something like for Christmas and when they had the baby shower for the moms that were pregnant, you know, like we don't have to tell them what to do. Like they have the creativity, the imagination, they get the stuff, they do it all. It's like, wow, praise God. Hey, Rachel, we got the church into the parade, the kids. Don't trip, we'll take care of it. And then her and Echo put it together and bam, we get like a second place trophy. And this isn't being bragging. This is just bragging on God, on some of the things that he's done, right?
Right.
You know, being invited to pray over the new city council members being installed. You know, like little things like that are like, thank you, Jesus. Who the heck are we, you know, that you would choose us to do these things? Having people like Jesus Garcia and his dad, Art Garcia, coming from Compton, and people coming from like the area that weren't going to church, right? Or coming to our type of church, you know.
We had a girl who just started coming, who came from Mexico.
She came from Mexico. That's right.
She became reformed in Mexico.
Lupita, yeah.
She became reformed in Mexico, comes to the U.S., Google's Reformed churches, and boom, there we are.
Boom, booyah, baby. Reformed Church of Los Angeles.
It's funny because a lot of people were kind of knocking us when we first started that we were going to use that name. Because everybody nowadays wants the cool names, like Fusion Church or, Techno Church.
I got a couple of them that I'm going to keep in the cut. I don't want to mention because I don't want to throw nobody under the bus. But I talked about that in my blog too, that and coffee. But go ahead.
And they were like, these people are going to call themselves Reformed Church
of Los Angeles.
Like how creative is that?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to like that name. And honestly, the majority of the people that have come to our church who weren't like part of our original core team or weren't from the area have come because they've Googled Reformed or they followed a Reformed pastor, like, hey, let's look for Reformed people in the area, and they found it that way.
Yeah, that's what Jesus said, that he was watching John MacArthur videos, and if you're I see you, Jesse. He was watching John MacArthur and R.C. Sproul, and I love talking to him because he got a lot of questions, bro. So I tell him, hey, Jesus, now let's take the learning from YouTube and let's apply it to church, to like real life. He's got some dope questions, bro. And seeing people struggle with their theology as they're starting, as the puzzle starts to come together, to see people wrestling with like biblical truths is awesome.
Yeah.
Because that it matters to them. It's a big deal for them.
Right. It's a totally different God for them compared to the God that they were introduced to, maybe through their non-denominational upbringing. You know what I mean? Where God is a little bit more of like a beggar, kind of waiting for you to like him.
Let me in, please.
Give me permission to do stuff. All of a sudden they're introduced to this powerful, sovereign God, and it's like, whoa, like that's a different God right there.
Yeah. And it's true. Like, so in Spanish, what do we say? Diosito.
Yeah, Diosito.
Right? Diosito. Right. Ay, Diosito, papito is like, you can't speak about a holy God in any form of diminutive. Like, there's nothing little about him, right?
If you stood in front of him, imagine saying, hi, Diosito.
Hi, Diosito. It gets stung like a cockroach, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. But how about some of the victories? Some of the victories that you want to share with people that are watching or listening right now about our experience so far planting here in Linwood?
Again, starting with the spiritual, I really like how people are falling in love with the word at the church.
Yes.
How, we told people from the beginning, we're like, look, we're not going to go on stage and entertain you.
Yeah.
We're not going to sell you gimmicks. We're not going to read the books on how to grow your church to 5,000 in 5 years and use all these different like I go, we're going to give you two things. We're going to be ministers of the word, and we're going to administer the sacraments. Yeah. That's the two things we're going to do.
That's it.
If you don't want that, you're not going to want this place. You know what I mean? And and that's not to say, well, that's all you're getting. No, it's like, you couldn't get anything more.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to see the beauty in it, right, this isn't going to be the place for you. It is beautiful to see these people fall in love with both of those.
Right.
You know what I mean? To come up after the service and say, man, I loved the sermon. Or I loved the communion. Or when we don't have communion, like, oh, why didn't we have communion?
Why don't we have community, Pastor? Like exactly.
That. And then when we introduced the remember your baptism, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Little things like that. When I made the little the wheat with the grapes, and they're like,
wait, you made the what?
You remember the wheat with the grapes?
Oh, the wheat. Okay.
No, the
tea with the tea.
Yeah, wheat.
Yeah,
where
it's legal now, so I have to make sure.
For the display, when I made the little Lord's Supper display, like people were like, "Oh, that's so beautiful!" Like just to have them rejoice in those things.
Yeah.
Has been my biggest blessing.
Yeah. Seeing people come together like Wendy. Shout out to Wistful Pastries. Wendy that comes to our church, she makes these vegan pastries that are sold at Patria Coffee in Compton and Collective Avenue Coffee here in Linwood. And to know she's a part of our church family, she's the one that made. How many people, remember we had the Unity service with Greater Emmanuel Temple?
Yeah.
How many people came up to you afterwards? Huh?
No, I don't remember.
No, but I mean the detail that when we had it, really. People were saying, oh, where'd you guys get that bread from? Where'd you buy that bread from for communion, right? It was like, well, actually, one of our church members, she makes the bread for us, you know what I'm saying?
It's good, dude.
And people are fighting for, hey, what's up with the leftover bread from communion?
Everybody's like, I rip a big piece off now.
It's not a torta, homie.
Yeah, they're having like lunch right there.
Yeah. That's funny, man. That's funny. Anything else, Pastor Chris, you want to share? Or that's on your heart to share?
Yeah, just really thankful to all the people out there that just help us. Just really thankful because it doesn't get any easier. And then we got some news that we're gonna announce soon, and so we're gonna need
big news.
We're gonna need help again, right? And so
you just dropped the dime right there. You just kind of you just suddenly let that out, bro. You know that, right?
And so yeah, man, just really thankful for everybody that takes the time to watch what we do and follow what we do, and hope they just continue to get blessed and encouraged, and that they will just keep praying for us.
Yeah. It's not easy. This is one of the hardest things I've ever done, the hardest thing I've ever done, right? But I can't picture myself doing anything else. I seriously cannot. I remember wanting to talk about this at our previous church, but scared, where am I going to live? How am I going to get money to feed my family? And those were big things, oh my gosh, But it's I can't see myself doing anything else. I can't. God has blessed us with not just people, but with churches who are believing in us, and groups of churches that believe in us. I think of Jose Hernandez in Watts, and how much of a blessing he was at our church on Sunday, to figure out how he can help us out with sound for our Christmas service.
Right.
Our kids have been on multiple camping trips now to the mountains and retreats because of him and his church,
Right.
Living in Watts, So yeah, there's a lot of things that are difficult, a lot of things that have gone wrong in our eyes, because we know that we serve a sovereign God and nothing catches him by surprise. But things have turned around, man, and God has blessed and continues to bless. And I know that he'll continue to do so starting next year in our big news that we have. So if you've been hearing or watching some of our posts, do us a favor. Let us know you're aware of them. Put a like on it. If you don't want to do that publicly, that's cool, but send us a message, a text, hey, I'm encouraged, because I like doing that. I see you do the same thing, Chris. We encourage people by liking their stuff, by commenting on it, because we want them to know. One of the things that we talked about, Ken Corbett, that taught us, I don't just see you, right? I see in you these things. So we want people to know that we see them and that we see the things that they're doing, right? And acknowledge that, because it feels good knowing that your work isn't in vain.
It's part of being a Christian. You're called to do that. You're called to encourage one another daily. Mm-hmm. And if you're a Christian, ask yourself, who have you encouraged today? Nobody. Who did you encourage yesterday? Nobody. Who did you encourage last week? Nobody. You're in sin. You're in sin, but you're supposed to be encouraging people,
Yeah, man. Folks, we love you guys. We're grateful for the support. Thank you so very much. We're grateful to all the people that have called RCLA home. I mean, we're averaging about 100 to 100. We had 110, 115 people this past Sunday. Mm-hmm. And even though it's not a numbers game, it really is a numbers game, because we're talking about eternity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just to watch our little church grow and how God is using it is amazing. It's amazing. And we're grateful for the people that belong to our church, that are coming to visit us regularly, are serving, are giving, are praying for us, are encouraging us. It's dope, man. It's dope.
Yeah. It is. It's one of those things where it's as much as we talk about why did I get into this, is there's a million reasons why. It is. At the end of the day, the pros do outweigh the cons, and I don't see myself doing anything else.
Yeah. Well, guys, we've been doing this now for about 40 minutes or so. I don't want to keep everybody too much longer. But any parting words, Pastor Chris, to anybody who's listening or watching right now?
Yeah, just thanks to all our partners, prayer partners, financial partners, and those who have partnered with us at RCLA. That we love you guys, and we're thankful for everything that you guys do. And just pray that we would, together, bring about the furthering of the kingdom of God amongst the urban poor.
Yeah. So thank you for all your help. If you are considering planting a church, looking to plant a church, want to know more about planting a church, and you have questions, reach out to us. There's a couple of people, like the homie Chris Santola, right? We had talked about him planting through RCLA and incubating and coming under our covering, but God had other plans, and it looks like he'll be going. Chris, if you're watching, are you going to Idaho or not, bro? You going to Idaho or not, homie? You know what I'm saying? But that has started other conversations, right? So if you're thinking about planning a church, you want to know more. I remember talking to the little homie Jermaine Wall last night. He used to do all the admin stuff for oh my gosh, for Shine's record label. Yeah, man, he's gonna plant a church in Canada. So I was like chatting with him back and forth last night, like, yo, read this, and asking a bunch of questions. So it's cool. If that's you want to plant a church, you're thinking about a plant a church, and you got questions, like, hit us up. We'd be happy to share our experience with you. We'd be happy to coach you from what we know and what we've learned, and from what not to do, because we want to make sure that we can help anybody prosper in ministry. Because ultimately, it's all for the Lord. As Medea would say, right? It's all for the Lord.
The Lord.
It's all for the Lord. We wish everybody a Merry Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, if you don't celebrate Christmas, then this is not for you. And we're going to have another episode on that, okay? But we'll talk about that another time. Until then, this is RCLA, the Reformed Church of Los Angeles in the city of Linwood, and the Hood Grace Podcast saying peace.